Nukes on the moon? Texas Democrats on the run? Oh, yeah. And by the way, a grand jury possibly seated, I'll just tell you for now, in the big T's, not in Washington, D.C. for the Russia collusion hoax. There's a lot going on. Oh, and by the way, heroics. One former reality star, maybe current, stepping up and becoming the hero after the L.A. fires. A lot to talk about today. Thanks for being here. And not all of this was one of those news days, and continuing into today's news cycle, where the first headline you hear in the story exactly wasn't the case, and you look into it a little bit further, and it's actually, pretty cool. Okay. But like always in our information age, the first version you hear of something is usually a bunch of crap, so we're going to weed through all that stuff. And thanks for being here. I appreciate you as always. Thanks for finding the Wicked Radio live stream, part of Wicked Wisdom with Bill Adams. Audio podcast, too, wherever you find those, wherever you like to get your audio. Press download and subscribe, would you? Appreciate you. Let's get right to it. Now, confession, full disclosure, I have been remiss, and I feel bad about this. I have waited far too long. I've ignored it too long to not give Spencer Pratt his due credit for being the hero that Los Angeles, and specifically Pacific Palisades, needs. And you're thinking, huh? Yeah, that's right. Spencer Pratt, reality star guy. I think it's Heidi Montag. Is that her name? I don't know. You'd never think that he would be the guy. But I'm telling you, the work that this guy has done every single day in holding California officials, specifically Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass, mayor of L.A., accountable for the lack of preparation for the L.A. fires, holding them accountable for finding out where the funds, the charitable funds are going, and what they're doing now. Nobody has done more to hold them accountable and is actually getting some answers. In fact, today, that same guy, Spencer Pratt, and I'll have a little reminder video here in audio for you in a second to remind you of who this guy is going to the White House to have a very, reportedly, high-level meeting with Trump administration officials to talk about what he's discovered because, again, nobody has done more work in uncovering the corruption. A little reminder and who this guy is. Now, this is from a TikTok video, but he's on, if you looked at his social media accounts, he is on this every single day, has hired people, hired investigative journalists, private detectives, law firms to look into what the hell went on leading up to the California wildfires. And no, it wasn't just climate change. It was irresponsibility, lack of preparation, and he's also all over this. Remember Fire Aid? Remember the big benefit concert that was massive, and it was great. It's great to see all these bands came out and they raised a bunch of money. Well, guess what? It's gone. They can't find the money. And this is what really set him off. It went to, of course, this is what usually happens, a bunch of nonprofits, divvied it all up. Wouldn't you just know that the California politicians in charge of the nonprofits or family connections that have them, yeah, they grabbed the money. Truly, that's what he did. Here's one of Spencer. Now, this is just from yesterday. This is just Spencer Pratt going off on more expenditures from California. This is just a little example of what this guy's been up to.
Wow, it's a beautiful new helicopter. You got two more of these? So what does that make, 16? I think the Palisades Fire had 14 of these. You know what, though? It doesn't come with this helicopter. It doesn't come with a feature of it, from my knowledge, from my experience. It doesn't come with water, Newsom, so you should check in with all your mayors you're cool with, like Karen Bass, and just make sure that your cool new helicopters have somewhere they can stick the hose in to fill up, to then fly over the fire and then put the water on top of the fire. It's
just an example of how he's mocking him, and he's on Gavin Newsom's ass, like every single day. So that's just kind of like a funny little thing, kind of like venting the frustration, right? Which is actually good. There's a benefit to that, because he lost his house. His whole family lost their house. He was a Pacific Palisades resident, so obviously he has some venting to do, which is good because other Southern Californians do as well. But he's doing a lot more than that. He has discovered, and he is in on the corruption that not only led to this, it carried all the way through the fires out there, which wasn't that long ago. Let's not forget about that. And also what to do about it now, and he wants to hold somebody accountable. And apparently, with this meeting he now has with high level, that's what they're being described, Trump officials, something's going to be done. Here's a little key. If they come out of this meeting, now there's probably going to be a press release, and I'm sure he'll do more videos and talk about what he was able to, get out of the Trump administration and bring it back home and get some answers. If they're quiet about this, This is how this usually works. If they're stone cold quiet about this after the big meeting, watch out. There may be charges coming to California. I'm not good at predictions, but I'm just saying. If they're quiet and they want to keep things under wraps, a guy's doing amazing work. Here's why it's amazing, too, by the way. And one more thing on Spencer Pratt, because you know I'm not big on celebrities, and I can't stand celebrity worship culture. I can't stand it, except in the case like this. Now, here's a guy that has a massive platform. He just does. It's just, we didn't write the rules, but a reality TV star has a massive platform. He's got a huge voice. Well, he's using it for good. Good for him. It's fantastic. That's what they should do. He's not in the bag for anybody. He's not carrying water for anybody's particular political party. He wants to get to the root of the corruption of what led to those fires, the lack of preparation, and where all that money and fundraising went. Good for him. He's doing a great job. Now compare that to, remember Maui? Do you remember not too long ago the Maui fires in Hawaii, those horrific stories? I don't blame you if you don't. You know why? Because it went away. Because they didn't have a Spencer Pratt keeping it in the news, which is massive, and he does have a massive following, and also holding people accountable. They didn't have a Spencer Pratt, and they don't have one. Southern California does. And they're damn lucky that they do have the guy. He's doing heroic work. He really is. Good for him. I'm rooting for him. Speaking of charges. Dun, dun, dun. All right, this is where I got to kind of like reel back a little bit, and I totally understand. And I totally get if, and I'm like this too. You know, you hear about the Russia collusion hoax, and it was a hoax. How they perpetuated it, and they went on forever. People won Pulitzer Prizes. 2, I believe it was 2, maybe even a Washington Post reporter, but definitely 2 New York Times reporters won journalistic prizes for perpetuating onto the American people the Russia collusion hoax. That it was Russia involved. Russia did this. It was Russia. Trump's a Putin puppet. Trump, remember, forever? Until now, when, as we all know by now, because it's been massive, Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, found that it was all concocted and all pushed through, originating with the Hillary. This is now fact. This isn't just opinion. This is now fact. Originating with the Hillary Clinton campaign, pushing it up through the Obama administration at the time, getting it through the Department of Justice, and perpetuating this very damaging hoax on the American people, all in an effort to take out their main political opponent in Trump and get him out of the way, to take him down. Now this is fact. Now, most people, and I wouldn't blame you because we've been so beaten down by corruption, you'd say, all right, well, what's going to happen with it, though? Really, what's going to go on with this, right? I mean, even if they did seat a grand jury, if charges were recommended, it would be in D.C., and no one's going to convict anybody. No one's going to pay a price. Hold on. Now, that may still be the case. Maybe. I'll grant you that. Maybe. But tell me you're still thinking that after yesterday's news. What kind of news? Well, let's just go to the announcement when it came. I think it was like yesterday, Eastern time anyway, early afternoon when the charges came down. Let's just go to the Fox News report.
Well, Will, good to be with you. This is coming out of the Justice Department. Fox News can confirm that Attorney General Pam Bondi today signed an order directing an unnamed U.S. federal prosecutor to take evidence to a grand jury relating to an alleged conspiracy to tie then 2016 candidate Donald Trump to the country of Russia. Now, Fox.
Okay, so at this point, you may be surprised that it even got to this point. I kind of figured it would at least get to this point. But then, where do things go to die? Where do charges that would hold people accountable, where does that go to die? Washington, D.C. Hold on. Because there's another piece of this story that's coming out. According to many sources, people who are, God love them for doing this, but they just like live and breathe this swampy political Washington crap. But there are some good reporters like John Solomon. I don't know if you know him, but he's fantastic and he knows this stuff. According to John Solomon, he has sources that say that grand jury, if seated, would be very possibly in, are you ready for this? Not Washington, D.C., but the free state of Florida. Now, what? That's a different ballgame now, isn't it? What if they had a grand jury seated to look into the Russia collusion hoax, described by many credible people as the biggest hit job ever perpetuated in our country's history to take out a political opponent, and they used all the resources to do it, including the media, who are holding water for them to get this story out there. What if a grand jury, first step, was convened to look at the charges, decide on them, and it was in Florida or any other state? that's not New York or Washington, D.C. Feel differently about it now? Because I do. I will tell you that much. The fact that there are even rumblings that this thing could be taken out of Washington, D.C. I don't know what the odds on this would be. I don't know what Polymarket is saying, but I think the odds of somebody going to jail for this, and we've all called for it, right? You can't come out with this much intel, information, transparency without somebody paying a price. It just has to happen. You have to. Otherwise, this kind of thing could happen again, but worse. And by the way, let's be adults in the room here for a second. If they're able to get away with this now and use the Department of Justice, I could see it happening from the other side. Yes, I could. To be complete, you can get mad at me all you want. I could completely see, if nobody pays a price on this, I could completely see Republicans doing this to Democrats. Yes, I could. I absolutely could. So right now, somebody has to pay a price. Who? I don't know. I don't know who it's going to be. Maybe it's those corrupt Department of Justice officials from the Brennan, Clapper, Jim Comey. I don't know. Maybe it goes higher than that. Maybe it's somebody very high in the Hillary Clinton campaign. Maybe Hillary herself. Obama? I don't know. I don't know where that's going to go. But your confidence level in somebody paying a price, which is where your mindset should be on this, should be skyrocketing with the news that came out yesterday. Yeah, the grand jury, but where the grand jury could be seated. All right. One more swampy political story just because I think it's funny. And then I won't talk politics anymore. But these days, as we all know, you can't avoid politics. It's just everywhere all the time. Well, let's kind of like reframe it for our own purposes. The first piece is, let's laugh at this for a second. Let's go to Austin, Texas, state capital of the great state of Texas. I can't stop laughing at this because of who's involved. So they want to, here's the background of the story. The Texas Republican state legislature, which is Republican-led. They have the majority. They want to redistrict their congressional lines. And the Democrats obviously are saying, you can't do that, we'll lose seats. And the Republicans are saying, yes, that's why we're doing it. But hold on. If this seems unfair, the Democrats did the exact same thing to redistrict, and they did it racially based, which was unfair for the beginning. So this kind of thing does happen, and there is a precedent. Well, they need to vote on this, and they need to get the complete vote done, or it can't pass completely. So what did the Texas Democrats do? They hired a couple of private planes, and they went on the lam. They literally left. A lot of them went to Illinois. The governor there, Pritzker, said, I'm going to make sure that they're safe here. I think some went to Massachusetts. I don't know, whatever it is. But they went to blue states, and they ran so that they're not in the Texas legislature to be there for the vote, which they're going to lose. So, and here's the best part of this. So that's wacky enough. I mean, you talk about insane. Instead of manning up and doing your job, here's the best part. So Texas Governor Greg Abbott comes out and he says, I got a lot of charges I can charge him with. First of all, they ran, and also it's bribery because somebody's paying for the planes to get them out of the state. And then it went to the next step. So we go back to the Texas House and the people that were still there yesterday. Here's a measure that passed to go after the Texas state Democrats that ran, and get this, send the Texas Rangers after him to go get them. Not the baseball team, the actual Texas Rangers.
Nays, the motion prevails. The sergeant-at-arms and any officers appointed by her are directed to send for all absentees whose attendance is not excused for the purposes of securing and maintaining their attendance under warrant of arrest if necessary until further order of the House.
Walker, Texas Ranger, go get him. Go round up. Now, here's where my little brain goes. I imagine the Texas Rangers not going to Illinois on a plane. No. They're actually going in covered wagons and horseback, and they find the Texas Democrats on the lam, and they lasso them. I don't know. This is just so nuts. We are such in a crazy, crazy age, but that's actually what's happening. So they didn't want to be there for the vote, so they want to wait it out by going on the lam and going to different states. Listen, that's where they are. When I heard the actual Texas Rangers are going after them, and I know that's their state police agency, I lost it. These people, we have children running politics right now. That's just where we are. So take that for what it's worth. I don't know what's going to happen with that story. One more thing to wrap it up with, and I know this is a perfect example of one of those stories where you got to look at the Don't go by the initial reaction or the initial headline or the initial dum-dums who think they know about it and will start reacting to it and start tearing it apart. And I'm talking about the Nuke on the Moon story. Now, granted, it sounds kind of crazy. What do you mean a nuclear reactor on the moon? What the hell are you talking about? And then, if you just slow down, process this for a second, and think about it. Oh, yeah, with everything they're planning, we're going to go to Mars. Elon's already said with SpaceX, we need an actual way station. We need a halfway point to launch things from the moon to get to Mars. I mean, that's what the plan is. Well, that would require a lot of power, wouldn't it? You would be right if you're thinking that. But the headline went bonkers yesterday. So here's the basis of the story. The interim NASA administrator is Sean Duffy. He's also the guy who's the transportation secretary. Ironically enough, on the same podcast where we're talking about Spencer Pratt, a former reality star, so was Sean Duffy. But he's done a lot since, but whatever. So he came out with the announcement yesterday where he is set to announce plans to build a nuclear reactor on the moon. Politico had the story first, and then everybody picked it up, and they pretty much confirmed it. According to new documents, the U.S. will be announcing expedited plans for the project. When? I asked the same question. They want to launch a nuclear reactor. All right, that's bad choice of words. They want to have the nuclear reactor project started, better way to say it, by 2030. Directive orders the agency to solicit industry proposals for a 100-kilowatt nuclear reactor to launch by they keep on saying launch, by 2030. Now, stop and think about this for a second. We're going to need a lot of power. And the call for, you can even downsize them now, nukes, despite what we were told in the 80s and 90s, remember the whole no nukes movement after 3 Mile Island? It's a lot different. Like, our nukes aren't your dad's nukes. Like, this is clean energy source that they have refined very, very well. No, we're not going to blow up the damn moon. No. And no, it's not Trump just saying, we're going to blow it up unless Russia gives us more money. No, that's not it. There's an actual plan. And the piece of the story there that said, many companies want to get in on this, so they're taking bids now. Lo and behold, the Rolls-Royce company. That's right. Expensive cars, big, awesome, loud engines, Rolls-Royce. They put together a project video on what this actually may look like. Potentially. Well, here's a little piece of it. I grabbed this morning.
The potential of a clean, long-term power source on the moon. Reliably, flexibly, and sustainably supporting a range of operational demands. Providing power and heat output as required.
Yup. The moon needs power. And also, here's the other effect on this thing. You're going to see and hear a lot more support and planning, really, and details about nukes and clean energy, which we should have been involved with much longer ago, right here on Earth, because it's going to happen. Now, I can't wait for Trump's announcement about the moon nuke, because it's going to be fantastic what he says. We're going to put a big, beautiful nuke on the moon. We're going to power everything. But, of course, that didn't stop people on social media saying, he's putting, like, Homer Simpson in the Springfield nuclear power plant on the moon. No, not exactly. There's plans in the works here. But I hope more proposals come out, because that's going to be awesome. I'm excited about it, actually. All right. Thanks for finding me. Appreciate you, as always. Thank you for your time. Thanks for the downloads. Watch us later on the replay, and notifications on, please, as well, on all social media. And don't forget, sometimes when a celebrity uses their platform like Spencer Pratt is in L.A., it's a good thing. Tomorrow is midweek. We'll have all kinds of stuff to talk about. And by the way, one more tip on that whole thing. I'll be looking to see if Spencer Pratt comes out of the Trump administration meeting saying a bunch of stuff, but if they go silent talking about the L.A. fires, keep an eye on that story, because it's going to be really interesting. He's the guy holding them all accountable and getting the word out there for it. So make it a wicked awesome Tuesday. We'll talk to you later.